You're with ET now. This is the India Development Debate. I'm Sandeep Gurumurthi joining you live tonight from our news center in Mumbai, and straight to the big debate tonight. Looks like Karnataka is headed for a photo finish. An exclusive opinion poll conducted by election research firm VMR for the Times Network puts the Congress and the BJP neck and neck in the forthcoming assembly elections, which are dubbed to be the semi-final for the 2019 general election. Interestingly, it is a JDS that could hold the key, as both the BJP and the Congress are likely to fall well short of a clear majority. Now, this poll indicates that JDS could prove to be a joker in the pack, winning around 40 crucial seats. A victory in Karnataka is a big morale booster for the BJP after many political pundits wrote off the Saffron Party's chances here. For the Congress, it is a do-or-die effort to retain power in the southern bastion Karnataka. Which way the JDS will swing, like Rahul Gandhi accused? Is it the B team of the BJP, or will JDS chief D. Kumaraswamy throw in a last-minute surprise? The mega opinion poll in Battleground Karnataka, that's a topic of debate tonight on the India Development Debate. Joining us on the show this evening, S.S. Shrinate, spokesperson Karnataka BJP, Aishwarya Mahadev, spokesperson Karnataka Congress, T. Prabhakar, leader of the JDS, and our three experts on the show: Sadanand Dume, resident fellow, American Enterprise Institute; Professor Chandan Gowda of the Azim Premji University; and Sanjeev Srivastav, political commentator. Thank you all so much for joining us on the India Development Debate. Before I take it to the politicians on the channel, and before we get down to the specifics of the opinion poll, let's put on stake, for our national viewers tuning in from all across the country, why are these elections so crucial? So Sadan, let me start off with you. How significant are these elections from the point of view of 29? I know we in the media tend to sort of hype any state election because it sort of makes sense to make an event out of these state elections. So it's already being billed as a semi-final of sorts. But are we perhaps going to make the mistake of reading too much into the mandate of a state that at the end of the day accounts for just 28 Lok Sabha seats?
Sandeep, that's a very good question. I think that, I think it's fair for you to describe this as a semi-final, but I would emphasize that this is not the only semi-final. There will be other important state elections in the run-up to the 2019 national election. So that's important. But, for me, this really stands out because what it is, in a way, the result of this election is going to be a capstone that is going to decide one way or the other between two competing narratives that have developed over the past 1 year. One narrative, of course, is that the BJP is in trouble. It has been losing a string of by-elections. The ill effects of demonetization and a sloppily implemented GST have hurt the economy. Job creation has been extremely weak. We see that the Prime Minister may be losing some of his massive popularity, and so on and so forth. Now, the counter that the BJP has had to that is that, well, this is something that you pundits and you journalists keep saying, but where's the evidence on the ground? The BJP wins state after state. Most recently, it did very well in the Northeast. Now, if the BJP loses Karnataka and the Congress bucks a historical trend of this state typically flipping every 5 years, then the narrative that says that the BJP is in a certain degree of trouble receives a huge fillip. So that's one storyline. The other large storyline is really the story of the decline of Congress. And so whatever you might say about, about the narrative in the media and so on, the fact is that the Congress has been receiving a series of thrashings across the country since 2014. If you look at the numbers right now, the Congress has only about 8% of India's population is under Congress and about 10.5% of GDP. Now, 2/3 of that or more is in Karnataka. So imagine the blow to Congress and imagine the shrinking of their national footprint if they lose this stronghold. So very high stakes for both parties, but high stakes for different reasons.
Professor Chandan Gowda, just to pick up from the point made there by Sadanand Dume, in that sense, does Congress have a lot more to lose? If at best, if they win, it's sort of status quo, but if they lose, it's a big blow. And will a win for the BJP in some sense significantly dent Rahul Gandhi's sort of, equity, his leverage, also in cobbling up a credible coalition come 2019? So in that sense, a lot more at stake for the Congress party?
Definitely. The stakes for the Congress are both at the state level. It will be a vote on Siddaramaya's performance, which he's been very confident about. basically, performance that's tried to say the state is for development with social justice, and which has meant a whole slew of schemes that are supposed to have gone down very well among a large section of people, especially in rural Karnataka. It's also a vote for Rahul Gandhi's capacity to claim to offer a leadership for any possible secular coalition that the Congress might offer to lead in the 2019 election scenario, because he's also been campaigning fairly extensively, and he's unlike, let's say, Modi, who has not really come here so far, and he's going to make 3 more trips before the main election. I mean, Rahul Gandhi. So, it's going to be an evaluation of both the state leadership as well as the central leadership of the Congress party. It's important for them for both these reasons.
So in that sense, it's critical for both of them, but a lot more at stake for the Congress party. Sanjeev Srivastava, will the winner in this election in some sense carry forward the momentum? There are crucial state polls later this year, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and then of course the big one in 2019. So is momentum key from these elections?
Clearly, Sandeep, momentum is key. The winner will get a lot of talking points and a morale boost, and the loser would look like a loser, and that way some kind of a perception battle and perception will be created. But I kind of, from where you started when you asked Sadanand the question, I think we should also not overemphasize the Karnataka result. I think a big victory either for the BJP or the Congress may actually set into motion a kind of perception which may benefit or harm them. Either way, depending on the result. But a kind of a small victory, a marginal runners up, all those kind of situations really won't make much of a difference on a national scale. I think it's crucial for the BJP and Congress both to be seen that they are there in the fight, they are seen to be hanging in there, and even if they come out even Stevens and with honors shared, I think the real battle would be later this year in the cow belt when Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, those states will go to the elections. Because again, even like in those 3 states and in Karnataka, everywhere the party in power will be facing the bigger challenge. So if Congress does reasonably well in Karnataka, despite being in power for 5 years, I think it will be fairly good showing, because the key election is the Lok Sabha election. Similarly, if the BJP does well in those 3 states, wins a couple of them or even one of them, and puts in a very good showing in the other 2, then it is again equal honors. But the message already going out clearly is that somewhere the BJP election winning machinery doesn't look as impregnable, as kind of strong and invincible as it used to. Now, whether that perception gets strengthened or not, that is of course one big takeaway these election results will provide. And also, is Rahul Gandhi somewhere gaining traction with the masses? That's maybe another takeaway we'll get. But it's still, nearly 4 weeks between now and 18th May when the votes will be counted.
Indeed. We usually do this at the end of the show, but I thought we should make a difference and start with the big picture right at the beginning. Now let's put the spotlight on the opinion poll findings, and it's very clear. There are only 3 numbers that really matter. The opinion poll gives Congress 91 seats, gives BJP 89 seats, and gives the JDS 40 seats. This is, of course, the Times Now VMR opinion poll that we're breaking tonight on primetime across the Times network. It's important to mention here that this is largely in sync with the opinion poll findings of at least 2 other networks that have done. One, I think, did a poll just this evening, and another one that did a poll perhaps last week. So broadly in sync. So clearly, no opinion poll is giving a clear mandate to any party. And I think across opinion polls, it's looking like a neck and neck fight between the BJP and the Congress. One opinion poll gives a slight edge to the BJP, and 2 others give a slight edge to the Congress, including the one that we've put out here at the Times network. So if I may come to you then, Ms. Aishwarya Mahadev, it's evident then, going by our opinion poll and of course 2 other opinion polls, that the Congress is unlikely to come back to power on its own. What has gone wrong, or what is likely to have gone wrong? Why hasn't the Congress been able to convince the voter to put it back in power?
Very honestly, the only opinion poll that matters to us is the mandate of the crores of people that are going to vote for us. We have seen surveys all across, the opinion polls that you put out. We've also seen C4 surveys that give us 130 plus seats, along with internal surveys as well. At the end of the day, opinion polls are just that. They help to a certain extent, but they are not actual reality. For example, the sample sizes of all these surveys are negligible compared to the actual electorate. At the end of the day, the Congress is absolutely convinced of 130 plus. There is going to be absolutely no hung assembly, and we are sure to come to power without the help of any other party.
Okay, that's a confident sounding Aishwarya Mahadev. I'm glad you put the caveats up front for our viewers as well. This is an opinion poll based on a small sample, but the track record of opinion polls of late hasn't been horribly bad. I mean, they haven't been way off the mark. They've been off the mark. There have been instances, but they haven't been way off the mark. But let's put this in perspective for you, Mr. S.S. Shrinate. You know, anti-incumbency is a huge factor in Karnataka. Siddaramaiah is in fact the first chief minister to complete his term in 40 years. No party since 1985 has returned to power. So in some sense, the BJP has nothing much to celebrate just yet, because the opinion poll does not give you a clear mandate, despite you being the likely beneficiaries of anti-incumbency if there was any.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Shrinate.
Yeah, now it's, you see, basically, before I get into the analysis, one is the anti-incumbency you said, because no party has been able to win second time. So we have the clarity that we are getting into the power in Karnataka. And in the last 12 elections, that is after the parliament elections, 12 states we have won, or our group has won. Out of 12 states, 11 states, Congress has lost. So, the Congress has a record of losing in a continuous fashion. So, by-elections do not really matter in this, because the by-elections, we do not really take it into consideration as a reflection of the overall mode. So, now, when this is the base on which, when we look into the activity out here, whatever the data you have on the screen, it indicates two things. One is very clearly our seats from 40 in 2013 has jumped to 89. That means we have more than doubled. And Congress from 120 has dropped down to 90. They have dropped down by 30 seats. So this indicates a very positive swing towards BJP. And given assuming that this survey was done 4 weeks back, we get a multiple advantage, because in the last 4 weeks, before 4 weeks, there was a lot of activity done by Congress at the cost of the government of Karnataka. They advertised a lot, they moved around a lot, they put many foundation stones. Whether the project comes or not, the foundation stones were laid. So, and during this period, they created a sort of a hype for people to feel that there is an activity. But right, in the last out of the 5 years period, only last 6 months they have been active. 4.5 years they have not been active at all. Okay. So when you look at this, BJP has more than doubled its.
Okay, you're saying this
from 40 to from the first 89. Day, sir. What do you say in 6 months?
Okay. I take that point. SS Shrinate, let me interrupt you. I take your point. SS Shrinate, I take your point. You're saying,
and you add this 4 weeks plus next 2 more weeks.
Okay, you're saying the next 2 more weeks you will get, you will build the momentum. I think on the point that you make on building hype and all, I think, I think people need to learn from the BJP. So let's keep that aside. Let me come to T. Prabhakar of the JDS, and it's clear now, in some sense, is this the best case outcome from JDS's point of view? I mean, were you in it to be the kingmaker and gain leverage? And more importantly, direct question, will you side with the BJP? Rahul Gandhi has already called you the B team of the BJP, and indications are that you're leaning closer to the BJP than the Congress. So would you be open to tying up with the BJP if this were to be eventual mandate of the people of Karnataka?
One thing I want to mention here is the JDS is only the regional party fighting about the 2 national parties, that is the Congress and the BJP. The opinion polls by nature are subjective because of the predisposed notion of the agency conducting the poll. We cannot take this as the base for everything. Because of our ex-Prime Minister, Mr. Devagoda and Kumaraswamy leading the party, you use the word kingmaker. No, we will be the kings, not the kingmakers. That is sure. See, lot of things, we have to think. See, nobody expected in Uttar Pradesh, out of 403, 323, BJP has won. The opinion polls, what happened? Nothing. The Congress has decreased to 44 MPs in the parliament elections. So what the opinion polls have said, so like this, you cannot take the opinion polls just now on face value of its image. Even in Indira Gandhi, in 1977, how much she won? How Janata Party came? How Morarji Desai came? See,
I take that point. I don't expect you to come on national television today and admit that you will get 40 seats. I mean, I take that point. But my simple question is, assuming that this were the verdict, would you be more open to tying up with the Congress party, or would you be more open to tying up with the BJP? It's a simple question. Rahul Gandhi calls you the B team of the BJP. What would be your post-poll strategy is all we're asking.
No, we cannot answer this question immediately now, because 24th evening, tomorrow evening, we will have about 25% what exactly the notion of the people. On 27th evening, I think mostly about 75% will... No, well, you see, it all depends upon everything, not only the candidates. You see here, not only candidate issues of the party, the person, the caste, local issues, state issues, perspective, anti-incumbency factors, all these things will affect, not one or two or three or four like that. You see, so many things will affect. Only the opinion polls, just you see, it is only the hype of the, just to create a hype. In the issue, that's all. According to me, that's only the issues. So let us see.
Okay, I think Aishwarya Mahadev wanted to make a quick interjection. I'm coming to you, and then I need to go back to my experts on the show. Aishwarya, you were making a point.
Very honestly, if you look at it, the JDS has always been very opportunistic. The last time they came to power because of Siddaramaiah and the Hale Mysore bloc, and they joined the Congress subsequently, and we have won. If you look at the JDS's strategic alignment of candidates, for example, they are placing candidates of absolutely no strategic winnability along with the BJP. For example, in Chamundeshwari, you have a Gopal Rao who holds no sway in that seat because GT Devagoda is somebody that they want to win. Even in Varuna, there is controversy. Even in basically in a lot of constituencies, they both have an internal agreement to field dummy candidates. The JDS is the BJP's B team because the JDS knows that the chance of a coalition by adding, because neither of them are going to come close to a majority, the way of alliance is better for them to try and take down the Congress. But the Congress is far stronger, and also anti-incumbency. Experts have said the wave of anti-incumbency is probably the lowest in a Siddaramaiah government. An ADR report is put us at 7.09 on 10. So I think the JDS should stop skirting and lying around. You all are looking to play kingmakers and be as opportunistic as ever, sir.
Dume, if that is the case, if that is indeed the case, and if there is some sort of a tacit understanding at the ground level to field weaker candidates, in that case, it's a given. Then I mean, then it's a all these opinion polls indicate that the BJP and JDS will form the government. Even as outside of that, even assuming that there were no such understanding, given the BJP's remarkable skills at forming government in states where it is not the single largest party, and I can sort of rattle out a number of states where they've done that. Who has a better chance of forming the government in the eventuality of a hung assembly?
So let me just make two quick points, Sandeep. The first is that, the caveating on polls, I'm very wary of seat predictions. Not only do we have a kind of history of not doing so well on seat predictions, if you want to look at polls, I'm much more interested in vote share than seat share, because predicting seat share in a three-cornered contest is frankly just voodoo. So if you can pull up the vote shares, that will be very interesting to look at. Number one. Number two, I agree with you that very clearly the BJP would be in pole position if it ends up being a close contest, if these seats end up being, if reality reflects what we're seeing on this screen, then I think most people would put their money on the JDS going with the BJP for various reasons. And we've seen the BJP being spectacularly successful across the country in forming governments, even when they get fewer seats than Congress. So if these numbers are correct, I agree with your assessment. But I just tend to be a little bit suspicious of confident seat share predictions.
I take that point on board that we need to be very circumspect when it comes to seat share predictions. So yes, things could go sort of differently from what these opinion polls are indicating as far as seat shares are concerned. But Professor Gowda, you sort of have a closer pulse of what's the mood like in the ground. Is a Congress JDS coalition also less probable? I mean, I understand none of the political panelists are going to admit to tying up post polls, but is that also less probable given Siddaramaia's history with the JDS? I mean, is it what are the chances really of Deve Gowda backing Siddaramaiya as a chief minister? So can we sort of realistically rule out the possibility of a post poll tie up between the Congress and the JDS?
No, actually, a post-poll tie-up with the Congress and JDS seems more likely than one with the JDS and BJP, contrary to what people have been saying so far. But it will likely to happen without the acceptance of Siddaramaiah as a CM candidate. This is what it seems like from today, just going by the kind of criticisms that Siddaramaiah and the JDS seems to be making of each other in public rallies. You please remember that there are other factions within the Congress with which JDS is more comfortable. The Kharge faction, the Parameshwara faction. So it's far more complex than what it appears on the surface. And it's absolutely important for the JDS to stay secular because its support base not only consists of Vokkaligas, as everybody knows, Muslims are very crucial, as are very many other minorities. So a lot is at stake. If it ties up with BJP, its current claim to being secular will no longer be tenable, and that's an extraordinarily electorally expensive mistake that it cannot afford to make. So I will not be surprised if there is keenness on the part of both JDS and the Congress to tie up, should there be a hung assembly.
Okay,
and
I have
one
to take
quick point, since this particular survey has been done,
right,
we've had seat announcements since then. Lots of candidates have crossed parties, across all three parties. And apparently, from what I can guess, the most dissension about candidate selection has been among the BJP candidates. There is dissent in all parties, but a little more in the BJP. How this plays out remains to be seen. So to your figures, plus or minus 5, at least, will have to be done as a result of just the seat allocation.
Oh yes, this definitely happened before the seat allocation, and that could be a factor as well. There's discontent everywhere, but you're right about the factor. In BJP, there seems to be some concern there. But T. Prabhakar, you have to take this direct question on the point made there by Professor Gowda on the support base of the JDS, the core support base of JDS. Will you alienate them by tying up with the BJP, or will you, given the legacy concerns over Siddaramaiah, is the possibility of a tie-up with the Congress also far-fetched? I mean, which way are you likely to move?
No, according to me, that question will not arise. It all depends. This is only the opinion poll is different from the exit poll. The exit poll, when it comes, that we can be in a position to answer this question. When we want to become the king, why should we support anybody? The question of supporting BJP or Congress will be with us. It will be let us see the situation after the 15th of May. Before that, then things, when they let the elections results come, then the things may come. Anybody is there, and we cannot predict that we will go with Congress or we will go with BJP. That doesn't arise. We are 100% sure we are going to get the magic figure of 112, 113. Let us see.
Okay, that's a confident JD is there on getting the magic figure of 112. Sanjeev Srivastava, what could swing the I take that point on Sadhana and saying that, it's very difficult to predict seats from vote shares. What could swing things in favor of either of the two leading parties from here on? Could something happen between now and election day that could change equations? Modi is going to campaign more aggressively come the 1st of May. Will that make a difference? Are we likely to see more support for Congress as they also put up a more renewed campaign? What could sort of swing it from here on?
It's a very difficult one as to what could swing. Yes, Prime Minister Modi has not at all been to Karnataka so far, at least in the recent past, for electioneering. So that's one big event which the BJP supporters would be waiting for. How much effect it will have on the ground, it's difficult to say. Rahul Gandhi has already campaigned quite a bit and will be pushing himself hard into campaigning towards the last couple of weeks of electioneering. So, see, what I find, Sandeep, most interesting is JDS. And I would really like to have your indulgence for a minute on that, because I think both Professor Gowda and the JDS spokesperson, Mr. Prabhakar, they have made some very valid and interesting points, wherein lie perhaps the seed of what the future may, how it may unfold. See, I think the JDS right now somewhere is the B team of the BJP, because it is not in terms of what we will do after the election, because it is right now going to inflict the maximum damage to Congress prospects, especially in the Mysuru region where the Vokaliga belt is and where a good concentration of minority vote is there. But post elections on 18th May, if these opinion polls hold true in terms of election result, what Mr. Prabhakar says may actually come out to be true, that the JDS may not be just content playing the kingmaker, they may very well want to be the king. Because even if with 40 seats, if they decide not to support the BJP and the Congress may still not support them, but what option does the BJP have? Because remember, Deve Gowda is a very shrewd and wily political campaigner. He realizes that if he goes with the BJP post-elections, he will be, cutting off his minority vote vis-a-vis the Lok Sabha elections, which will be just 10 months away. So he'll try to extract the maximum price for that. He would want his own party chief minister. Otherwise, why would he not look for 6 or 7 or 5 Lok Sabha seats in 2019? Because if he ties up with the BJP post these assembly elections, he can kiss goodbye to a very loyal chunk of his voter in this Mysuru region. Just with Vokaligas, then it will virtually become a straight contest between BJP and Congress, BJP JDS versus Congress in the Lok Sabha election, which suits the Congress party somewhere.
Okay.
So what happens post the election outcome will be very interesting. So JDS may actually want their pound of flesh by wanting to become the king rather than the kingmaker. And it will be very interesting how it plays out, whether minus Siddaramaiah, can the Congress support Deve Gowda's party or vice versa. I think the Congress would be in a best position if this opinion poll comes out right. If they get 90-95 seats, remain the principal opposition party and let JDS be exposed together with BJP, then their Lok Sabha elections prospect go up.
Well,
at least that's how I look at it.
Okay, that's a very
it's
different...
an interesting game. It's an interesting game going forward.
For sure it is, and that's a very different and interesting perspective that you're bringing to the table. Not sure if the Congress representative on the panel is going to be okay with the fact that we don't mind losing Karnataka if it improves our prospects of winning a few more seats in 2019. Aishwarya, I want you to come in on that quick point made there by Sanjeev Srivastava.
They have to be a very good number 2 for that.
Sure.
See, there are a lot of...
Go ahead, Aishwarya.
Okay. So basically this year, a lot of things about Karnataka. One is that you've never had successive governments being formed by the same party. And second, the fact that Karnataka and the centre are always the opposite. I believe 2018 and 2019 are going to change that, because we're going to come into power again. And second, in 2019, we've already seen a wave of resurgence. When you say that by-elections don't matter and whatnot, no, absolutely they do. Because what we're seeing is that what 2014 Modi was, he is not here today. Because what has happened in that time from 2014 to 2018 has been massive amounts of maladministration, which has led to resentment, where even stronghold seats like Gorakhpur are being lost. Karnataka is going to be the harbinger of change, whether you like it or not, because we've seen by-elections now where other parties are stealing seats from the BJP right under their nose and in their own backyards. Karnataka is a large state which stands for a lot that the BJP is never going to. We're a liberal secular state and the Congress is the only government that can cater for it. The BJP Congress JDS coalition is going to be a concessionary one, not based on principles or morals or any sort of democratic, like, a manifesto even, because it's for a convenience and it's for power at the end of it.
Yeah, but Aishwarya, I mean, it's not as if the Congress hasn't forged such alliances in the past. I take that point. I want to move ahead. I've got a lot of ground to cover, and let's move to the qualitative aspects of the survey. This is the most striking factor that's come out from this poll. I'm going to go straight to Professor Chandan Gowda, because I want him to help us analyze how to read this one finding. 50% of the people polled believe that life has improved under the Siddaramaiah government. A wide majority of the people believe, in fact, maximum people believe he is their most preferred choice for being the chief minister of the state, and yet they aren't willing to give him a clear mandate. What explains that?
this 50% is probably spread in different parts of the state, especially in rural areas. I think the schemes that Siddaramaiah has put in place have had a rural Karnataka which has actually been suffering, fairly, very badly under drought for the last 3-4 years. And the government must be credited for coming up with some very constructive schemes. Farmers, were encouraged to, produce milk. They got 5 rupees extra per every liter, and that has helped them cope with a very, with decline in farm incomes, etc. So there are things like this, a whole host of such schemes. Even the farm waiver, loan waiver, up to 50,000 rupees. Loans taken out from cooperative banks, that has gone down well. And there have been many similar schemes like that for small farmers, who are the majority of the farmers. So I don't know where the 50% comes from. I can't tell from what you just say, from what parts of Karnataka the data has been polled. But I would think this 50% will consist mostly of the, lower middle classes, rural classes, and also some of the, the Dalits are probably pleased with some of the things Siddaramaiah has done. And the OBCs, the Ahinda formation that he tried to make a space for backward castes, Dalits, and religious minorities, definitely they will be pleased with the kinds of things Siddaramaiah has said on their behalf and done even in terms of policy measures. Unfortunately, we don't have studies of how these policy measures have performed on the ground, but my guess is by and large they have done well enough to acquire some ground level admiration for these schemes.
Important. So, Sadanand, what would you sort of pin it to? Is it just anti-incumbency? I mean, there are just two things really. One, the anti-incumbency, the fact that people may be happy with the performance of the government, yet they want to throw it out and give a chance to another party, which is what we've seen since 1985. Or is it the Modi factor that, when they look at the larger consideration, they also, consider who is the Prime Minister's candidate, and, maybe Modi's popularity may be swaying some of them in favor of the BJP, because what else explains the fact that 50% are happy with the performance of the Congress government, and yet they're not giving that party a clear mandate?
I mean, to me, these are not hugely contradictory, right? I mean, you have about 50% of the people who say that, yeah, my life is better. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the party has 50% vote share. I mean, you have to remember that nobody has 50% vote share in Karnataka. And so, there are historic patterns, there are old loyalties, there are all kinds of things that go into people's making a political choice. It's not simply a sort of up and down vote based on, whether you feel your life has improved or not. If I were in the Congress position, I would actually be quite happy looking at those numbers. Because if you combine those numbers with what else your poll says, and you take into account that very often polls are in India are better at getting the general direction right than they are in getting the sort of final seat count right. Which is why I was just wondering, in case you have the vote share numbers, that would be very interesting to see. But I would sort of if I were a Congress person on this show, I would be kind of quietly optimistic looking at all of this together.
Okay, fair enough. Sanjeev Srivastava, we're trying to get the vote share number, but even as we do that, the Congress party got 36.6% of the popular vote in 2013. This when the BJP was a divided house, right? Obviously, we don't need to remind our viewers that Yediyurappa contests that as a separate faction. Now that all the factions of the BJP are together, for the Congress to sort of claim power, analysts expect that the Congress needs a further 3% swing in votes for it to retain power. How probable does that look?
Very difficult one to answer. The only thing which one gathers from a distance, because I have still not been to Karnataka in this round of elections, I will be going there end of the month for about a week. But from what one gathers, what one listens to, and what one has been hearing just now from somebody like Professor Gaurav, who is there, an independent analyst on the ground, is that as conventionally as incumbents go, Siddaramaiah does not come across as that kind of unpopular or somebody whom people just want to throw out or who is not wanted back. So, and he has very interestingly pitched some kind of a Kannada nationalism against the BJP Hindutva and overall nationalism of the BJP. So, and he has positioned himself, while JDS says that they are the only regional party, in some ways in Karnataka, the Congress has also positioned itself as a regional party under Siddaramaiah. So yes, Rahul Gandhi and the Congress central leadership may not like it very much, but the central leadership of both the BJP and Congress party to a large extent look like right now on the sidelines. And vis-a-vis Yadurappa, Siddaramaiah again from a distance come across as a more clean and a more popular face. Now whether all those perceptions are right or wrong, I cannot say, but that's the feeling one gets sitting here and assessing the situation from a distance. So like Sadanand was saying just now, if one is a Congress supporter, then these numbers, they can draw some satisfaction from these numbers that things are not as bad, because usually, see, when the BJP says that they have won 11 states or 12 states in the last 3-4 years and 11 Congress has lost, the bigger point is it's the incumbent who loses.
Correct.
And the challenger comes to power. In Punjab, the Congress won. So in most of the states, the Congress has been thrown out of power. Here, the Congress, despite being in power for 5 years, looks like standing firm and giving a good fight at least. So that itself is I think a fairly creditable as far as Siddaramaiah is concerned.
Okay.
Now how much of a fight he can give, can he really pull off a surprise by coming back? All
That's
those
something
things
we'll
come to know in the coming few weeks.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, let's get in the BJP view. We lost the link there with S.S. Shrinate. He's back on the show. Now, S.S. Shrinate, despite all the talk of Mr. Amit Shah calling, the Siddaramaiah corruption charge that he's levied on Siddaramaiah and whatnot, this poll clearly says that Siddaramaiah is the best suited to be the Chief Minister of Karnataka. 46.15% of the people polled believe he is best suited to be the CM of Karnataka. Only 31.76% believe that Yedurappa is best suited, and little over 17% are going with H.D. Kumaraswamy. So this need not necessarily mean that he will be the Chief Minister, because obviously the seat share is neck and neck as per this poll. But yet Siddaramaiah's popularity is to some extent intact.
Looking at the numbers what you have given, you see, basically, if Siddaramaiah is a very efficient ruler of the state, he should have got more than 70% or 80% of the votes to say he should be the Chief Minister. He is only at 47%. And whatever was being told during the last 10 minutes, you have not, the activities in Karnataka only started in the last 6 months after they won Gundlupete and Nanjangud. And that was a tacit arrangement, we say, with JDS, because JDS sort of kept aloof, and that made a difference for the Congress to win. And that win made them think that they can win the elections, that gave them some confidence. That is where the fight started. But generally people are not satisfied. You see, look at the, I don't know, there was a person from Wipro University who was talking. He need to note that 80,000 crores was the loan when we left, and today it is 2.44 crores, lakh crores loan is what they are leaving it to us. We will have to clear it once we move into the power. And most of the Anna Bhagya and other schemes are given by the central government, and we contribute 28 rupees, they contribute 3 rupees, and they are distributing that Anna Bhagya. And they are trying to take the credit. We have no issue. It has gone to the people. Okay, we are happy there. But most of these schemes are given by the central government.
Okay. So
and secondly, thirdly, if you come to Bangalore city itself, Bangalore city operation was very bad. So I don't think we are talking of a good governance by Siddaramaiah.
Okay.
We are talking of bad governance by Siddaramaiah, and we are asking votes.
Okay.
And that is why we have moved from 40 seats to 89 seats. And last 4 weeks, a lot of activity has taken place.
Okay.
People have realized. And in the coming 3 weeks, I think we should exceed, one more thing you need to note. If Congress is getting even 2% more votes than me, my seats will be much more than Congress.
True.
That is because they have a concentrated area of old Mysore.
Absolutely.
So thereby, even at 2% less, I'll get more seats. If I am 5% more, you can tell me why I am 150 plus 2. We are reaching our magic number, what we have we have been talking about.
Okay, S.S. Shrinate, I take that point. I take that point, S.S. Shrinate.
Congress may not go beyond 50 seats.
Okay,
That's what
okay.
I think.
I don't expect you to sort of praise the Siddaramaiah government on this show for sure. But Aishwarya Mahadev, even as people believe that Siddaramaiah may not have done necessarily a bad job, the fact of the matter is, and I think one of our experts raised it on the show, that these elections are crucial from the point of view of seeing if Rahul Gandhi has renewed currency. And what these opinion polls indicate is a little worrying. It seems that Rahul Gandhi has no impact in these elections. If anything, it's Modi versus Siddaramaiah. Modi is adding firepower to some extent to Yediyurappa, because what does it tell you about 2019? I mean, over 32% of people polled believe Modi's image and the centre's performance is a factor. 26% believe Siddaramaiah's image is a factor. Less than 10% believe Rahul Gandhi is a factor. So this whole Rahul Gandhi comeback story that has been, beautifully sort of created by the Congress party, is it just sort of a hype, and is there no reality to it?
Okay, first and foremost, with the way the Congress is structured and the BJP is structured, you realize
got
the
one
fact
point
that
to say.
federal autonomy
There
doesn't
are
exist in
78
BJP
lakhs.
states.
Please, a point. I'll
It
come
is
to you after
ruled and
that.
started
Mr.
with
Shrinate,
one, let me clarify,
yes,
sir.
please make your point.
Let
Yes,
me
go ahead, Aishwarya.
finish.
Yeah.
Right? So it's obviously going to be a Modi versus Siddaramaiah, because obviously when Siddaramaiah is fighting a Yediyurappa, it's no competition, because Yediyurappa needs everybody to support and prop him up. It is a Modi versus Siddaramaiah because Siddaramaiah has finally challenged the institution that Modi has set up, which is a unified command and almost tyrannical, where the federal autonomy of states are not valued at all. When a Modi comes to inaugurate every tiny little project in different states, while the state BJP is left to just look on and clap, you realize the sort of autonomy and the dictatorship that he's running. Siddaramaiah is the man who is challenging him. There is a vital difference between a Rahul Gandhi and a Narendra Modi. I will tell you what it is. Rahul Gandhi essentially believes in the autonomy and the pride of these state leaders. Siddaramaiah is the tallest figure in Karnataka, followed by other members of the cabinet. Rahul Gandhi will not take it away. He will amplify the message for us. Whereas Yediyurappa is so weak a candidate. When he talks about 6 months ago, Congress coming and getting its act together, 6 months ago you decided if the BJP was even one unit, because Sadanan Gowda, Jagdish Shettar, Ishwarappa and Yediyurappa were still fighting. So Yediyurappa is so weak that you need a Modi who's essential. Whereas Rahul Gandhi is somebody who's going to amplify the message for us. And every star campaigner from the BJP is here only to try and be supporting actors, because Yediyurappa is weak. I have two more points and I really want to clarify this.
Aishwarya, I'll come back to you on those points.
And say it is a central government scheme, why does it not exist in any other state?
Okay, fair enough. I take that point,
Why does
Aishwarya.
it
But
not exist in any other BJP state?
Okay, Aishwarya, I take that point, and I want to compliment you for a very
spirited. Are from outside.
Okay, Aishwarya, I take that point, and I want to compliment you for a very spirited defense and a nice sort of front foot way in which you've tried to sort of deflect the fundamental question that I asked, which is Rahul Gandhi not having the kind of currency that people make him out to be? And Sadanan, I'll come to you. The reason I'm saying this is, look at the state where the Congress came back to power. It was Punjab, where it had a very strong local leader in Amarinder Singh, and frankly Rahul Gandhi had very little role to play in the Congress's victory in Punjab. And if these opinion poll indications are to be true, if the Congress does well, even if it does somewhat well, the credit goes entirely to Siddaramaiah, and Rahul Gandhi is not able to sort of bring in votes, unlike what a Modi is doing.
Rahul Gandhi has no problem with that. He respects
but
Siddaramaiah
what does that
to be
tell
the
you about
tallest
2019?
leader, and
Sadan
he has
Dume,
no
what does that
problem
tell you
with
about
that.
2019?
So listen,
It
I think
basically tells you.
Aishwarya, let him make his point. Yes, Sadanand, over to you.
So, I mean, it's certainly true that that the Congress needs strong state leaders. It's certainly true that as a campaigner, no party has a figure like Narendra Modi who is kind of able to come in and whip up the masses and make a huge difference for his party. I mean, in many ways, there's been a role reversal in the two national parties, right? This is what Indira Gandhi used to be able to do, and this is what Narendra Modi is now able to do with his party. And at the same, so obviously, I take that point, but I think you're being a little bit too harsh to Rahul Gandhi. He does not necessarily have to come in and move an election through the force of his personality or campaigning. He has shown himself not to be able to do that so far. But even if he is able to do something incremental, as the Congress spokesperson was saying, if he's able to amplify a message, if he's able to bring together various factions, if he's able to bring the still substantive hold that the Congress has in terms of national opinion making, if he's able to bring sort of some of those factors in, fundraising, all of that, I think he's sort of, still is, overall is an asset. Now, the question of what he faces in 2019 again is it's a larger issue, and frankly, the only way his national image can be turned around is if they have a string of victories. It's good enough for him if the party has a string of victories. I don't think too many people will hair split and then say, well, how much did you do in that victory? It's good enough for him if the party wins, but if the party loses, he has a huge problem.
Fair point. What he needs is a victory, and a string of victories is what will add to some amount of, it will create some momentum. Now, I'm running out of time, but two crucial points I need to make, and I'm coming to you, Professor Gowda, that, again, a majority of people, over 50% of people polled, believe the Anna Bhagya scheme or the free rice scheme is the most popular state government program. Next on the list is the loan waiver, and I want you to draw sort of slightly more national interpretation of what does that tell you about voter expectation. For all the talk of doing away with entitlement-based policies, voters still looks like values them the most. And does that, to some sense, explain why even the Prime Minister and the Modi government is very conscious in its slant towards more left-of-centre economic and social policies?
I don't know what the left-of-centre economic policies of the Modi government have been thus far. But the popularity of those schemes, I think, are only in the nature of things, given that, there is so much hardship on the ground. A canteen that says we'll offer you a nice breakfast for an affordable 10 rupee thing can't not go down well, right? And I think this is something that any party could have thought of at any time. And this was anyway in place in Tamil Nadu. It so happens that the Siddaramaiah government thought it was good to have even here, and that's gone down well. Even if there are not many canteens actually working, etc. But the idea of such a canteen, the idea of making food available for less, is a good idea for the most part, for the beneficiaries. Of course, there will be people who will think that it's not fair to other sections of society, that it encourages a certain, attitude to work that may not, be mindful of, that may not want to earn more, etc. You hear these complaints among the farmers who depend on agricultural labor. This you heard even during the NREGA schemes for that matter. But by and large, schemes that mean well and are delivered properly will receive appreciation, regardless of the party that's doing it, if it's done well. And I think full points to the Congress government for putting in place these sorts of schemes. But, I must also mention, just like the other panelists mentioned, two quick things. Siddaramaiah's sort of confident embrace of the Kannada language issue, the Kannada flag issue, and also the Lingayat religion issue. We don't know clearly if it translates into positive votes, but by and large, among the locals, it's gone down well. The Lingayat issue, we don't know how the Lingayats have viewed it. The BJP's, counter to that was that he was trying to divide the Lingayats, which may have got some traction among the Lingayats. It remains to be seen how the work of the Matas that wanted a separate religion, what have they done to keep their believers thinking that Congress has to be thanked for what it's done. This election will make all those things clear. But at the national level, I think a certain idea that a federal polity ought to respect local causes has come to stay, and the Congress will be wise if it listens to it and undoes what Indira Gandhi set in motion, which is centralization of the High Command, and tries to give autonomy to regional leaders. Same goes to the BJP, which has learned a bad lesson of centralizing things. So this will be a litmus test for many, many reasons.
It will be a litmus test for many, many reasons. Since you raised 2 points, I do want to tell our viewers what the opinion poll says on both of them. One is on the Siddaramaiah government's efforts towards, Kannada pride. 32% believe it's much needed course correction, whereas 31.78% believe it's a political gimmick. So, it's sort of split down the middle. Even on the issue of the Lingayat matter, whether that would impact voting decision, 39.12% believe yes it would, and 38.32% believe it wouldn't. So I think the jury is split on both those contentious issues. But Sanjay Srivastav, an important question to you then to wrap things up, which is again the national conclusion that this election inference that we could draw. 37.73% of the voters in Karnataka believe agricultural crisis is going to be the biggest question on their minds as they cast their vote. What implications does this have in terms of the national picture? The fact that the government will now need to be seen as doing more to fix the agrarian mess of sorts?
Well, I'm sure. And like you were saying, that couple of strong points. One was that free rice scheme, and the second biggest popular point for Siddaramaiah is that loan waiver. So somewhere he seems to be delivering for rural Karnataka more than anybody else, or at least in public perception, in your opinion poll. He is coming out doing well on that score. So clearly agrarian distress, even more jobs. I think these economic parameters will hold the key to the 2019 election. The suffering of people and the answering of their aspirations somewhere, whether it's jobs, whether it's better livelihood, whether it's better living conditions. Ultimately, it's going to boil down to all of that. And about this, just a very quick point on this centralization of high command and federal state polity, and how Rahul Gandhi needs to encourage that and Modi is not doing it. I think it's all a question of personalities and leadership. When an Indira Gandhi was there, she could deliver with a centralized high command. Till the time that Modi is delivering on centralized high command, it's fine. And if Rahul Gandhi is not able to do it so well, it's nice to find virtue within encouraging state leaders. It's cometh the hour and cometh the man. So it was, you know, if Modi loses a couple of elections, you'll start hearing all kind of voices in the BJP about the high command being too overpowering, too overbearing, too much breathing down their necks. Absolutely. It's a question of this delicate give and take. Right now, Modi seems to be calling the shots in state elections.
Right.
But I don't agree that the recent round of by-elections, parliamentary by-elections, don't have any resonance or meaning. They have a huge meaning.
Okay.
But let's wait for the verdict on 18th May.
Let's wait for the verdict on the 18th May. Completely timed out. At the end of the day, winnability is all that matters in politics. And all we can say is, if the big inference from this opinion poll is that 2019 will be fought on development and economic issues, then that's something that we'd most definitely welcome, because we want to put the spotlight on those matters, and hopefully people wouldn't vote on considerations of caste and religion, and politicians wouldn't end up polarizing voters towards that end as we build up to 2019. Thank you to this wonderful panel for joining us on the India Development Debate and debating these Karnataka opinion poll outcomes. We'll wait for the final verdict of the people and the mandate of Karnataka on the 18th of May. Keep it with ET Now. Up next is Top 10 at 10. Good night.